It's the final countdown.
Y'all see that red link? I don't know if y'all see it on your screen. We are live.
Hello.
Okay, guys, good morning and welcome to our monthly live streams. We are the Easton Park Neighborhood Specialists. We're local realtors here that live in the community and also work to help our neighbors out. So we are bringing you these monthly live streams mainly about the market stats, but we also want to bring you valuable information such as neighborhood news or anything that's coming up. And we also love highlighting our residents that have businesses here. So I'm going to go ahead and defer this to Araceli if you want to introduce our resident.
Awesome. So, as Liza mentioned, we do like to highlight a resident. And, as we try to strategically place them based on what's happening in season. And we all know that tax season's right around the corner. So we have Alan Kirkland here, who is a resident and also my good friend. So thank you for joining us. All of his contact info is right on the screen, but he has worked with several residents here in Easton Park. I think he's working with Gabby as well.
I was gonna say he's been helping me a ton. This man has the patience of a saint. And he's super knowledgeable. He's been so helpful. So I highly recommend him for whatever that's worth. We're not just encouraging y'all to be like, oh yeah, here's this random resident that we haven't vetted. No, this is an awesome professional.
Yeah, and also just to touch on Alan, I think he grew up in the tax industry. I think his dad also a tax accountant, or you could tell us what your dad does.
Tell us about it, Alan.
You were little, had a calculator and punching numbers.
He was born with a calculator in his hand.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for letting me be on. It's great to chat with you guys. Yeah, my dad has started a company, A&A Tax Services, family-owned business. He's been doing it for probably about 10, 15 years. I was a math kid when I was younger, and so I had a previous career, but decided to start a family business, and been doing that for about 4 years, tax accounting. And it's been great to work with the neighbors. Yeah, it's been great to work with the neighbors here for the last 2 years since I moved in. So just trying to provide people, personalized tax services and small business tax preparation as much as we can.
Awesome. I love hearing that, especially that you live here in the neighborhood. We're trying to, provide that culture and then help our neighbors out while you're also helping us out with services that we actually need.
Yeah.
So I hope you don't mind. We have some questions for you.
Okay.
So what is one of the biggest things that people need to know about this tax year? Because I know there's a lot of changes, so hopefully you can kind of shed some light on what's going on.
Okay, cool. So as we had for the last 2 years, a lot of new tax incentives because of COVID, because everybody was kind of destitute and put in really tough positions. A lot of those tax breaks are leaving us for this tax year. That's the biggest thing that I want everybody to know. Two of the big ones revolve around people who have kids, the child tax credit and the child independent tax care tax.
Okay.
They were boosted for 2021, but they are not extended for the 2022 tax season. So this means a lot of people who are gonna see a lot less money in their pockets this year on their tax returns. And for those people who don't have kids, if you qualified for the earned income credit, it's gonna be a lot lower than it was the previous years. Again, because of those COVID years, it was boosted. So the maximum credit went down about $1,000. So those are kind of like the two biggest things that you're going to find. Another few things that you may notice, the tax brackets shifted slightly, but it's not going to be a huge thing for most people if you are making around the same that you made the previous year. It's only going to probably affect you if your income changed drastically. So that's just something to note. I always like to encourage clients and people who just ask me casually, the best thing to do is double check your W-4 and make sure it's filled out correctly. Because if you have certain things set on your W-4, that's kind of how they take your money out. And it could be a little wonky if you have it set at like married or set at, something different than other than single. So a lot of people have
What do you mean by wonky?
Okay, so this is something that a lot of people don't know. When you fill out your W-4, a lot of systems, if you don't just put single, say for instance, if you're married, if you select married, it will default to married, but filing as the sole income for the household. And that's something you don't want, especially if both people in your home are working, because it will tax you at a lower rate. But then when they add your spouse's income, it's gonna offset, and then you'll end up owing at the end of the year. So what I tell most people is, if you don't see a setting that says married but two incomes, or like my spouse also works, just put it as single. That's the best way that I tell people, even if you're married, unless you have a specific situation, if you talk to somebody where you know exactly where you want to put it, just go ahead and default it to single and you'll be fine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had no idea. Thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alan. I did have another question for you. So I know a lot of people love to file early just so they can get their money back a lot quicker. What would be the best way to do that?
Okay. So the best way to avoid any types of delays to get your refund the quickest is e-filing, filing electronically and getting your refund deposited into a bank account. Normally, it takes about 21 days after they open up the system, after you file, to get your refund if you don't have any issues or if they don't have to double check anything. But sometimes it can take longer depending on your circumstances. There are a few tax credits that if you qualify for and it is going to be on your taxes, you won't get your refund in those first 21 days because it just goes through a little extra process. A lot of them usually have to do with childcare tax credits and stuff like that. So just be aware of that when you speak to your tax advisor, whoever prepares your taxes, or if you just Google it, it'll show you what that is. As of right now, the IRS will start accepting tax returns on January 23rd. So keep that date in mind. But say, for instance, if you hop on to, like, if you do your taxes yourself, you get on there, you start working it up yourself, you can go ahead and submit it. It'll just stay in the queue until the 23rd. And then once they open up the system, then it'll be pushed through. So most people, if you do it right around that first date, you'll get your tax refund around the first part of February.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. So normally about a few weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks for that.
Yeah, I always tell my clients around 3 weeks. It'll take about 3 weeks. It's usually once you submit it, they'll send you an email back that says it's been accepted, or if there are any issues, they'll reject it and you need to go fix that. But usually it takes about 3 weeks. I do have a few specific circumstances that sometimes, because of, like, say for instance, if you haven't taken care of back your taxes, it may take a little longer because they have to figure out, okay, well, what did you get last year? Because they have to look at your transcript. So just depending on your situation, it can take longer for certain people.
Right. Okay. So the other thing, so this one I'm interested in this next question, that I'm very interested in this, because I don't know about y'all, but I Venmo, I PayPal, I Zelle money, like you wouldn't believe, on random. I mean, it's just business. It's personal. And then when that news came out that the IRS was going to start tracking that down, I kind of freaked out because I was like, you know what I mean? So maybe you can help us shed some light. What can be done? What do we need to do? I don't know. Help us, because I'm like a hot mess when it comes to that, because I wasn't really that organized to the transaction. So.
Yeah, so this is a big one, especially people who use Venmo and Cash App and Zelle and all that type of stuff, because everybody's like, oh, I'm sending money here, I'm sending money there. Am I going to get taxed on that? So it's been a big topic of concern because especially when the news first came out. So starting this year, a single transaction more than $600 could require a platform to send you a 1099.
Okay.
But most people will not get that because most people are not sending money for business purposes. Now, like you said, if you're sending money for business purpose, it could issue a 1099. Now, this is the other catch in that. It's kind of hard for them to differentiate what is a business transaction and what's not. There's not a lot of clarity on that right now. So like I tell most people, if you are not solely using like Venmo or Cash App predominantly for business, it's probably not going to affect you. You're sending $25 here, you're sending $100 there, somebody's sending it back to you. It's not going to be a thing for you. Like I do, I conduct business. I receive payments through Cash App and Venmo. So I expect to get a 1099 from the IRS, but that's already something that I was claiming. The IRS just wants you to claim money that you're making as a business.
Right.
That's what this is all about. So if you were like, hey, I have, say for instance, you do art, you sell art, you sell some things through Venmo, you should be claiming that on your taxes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's kind of just their way of trying to alleviate people kind of slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
Another thing to
for a long
note,
time, I'm sure.
yeah, it has. I think it too, because as we get more into the technological advances of sending money and like money sharing sites, the IRS kind of has to keep up with the times and be able to report those things. With Bitcoin, I know when Bitcoin came out and cryptocurrency, that was a huge wave of like, how do we report this? Because it's not necessarily stocks, but also it's a little bit, you know, in that gray area. So there have been a lot of advances on just trying to keep up with that stuff. So like I tell people, if you don't know, ask somebody, try to get as much information before you go through. But also at this point right now, as far as the Venmo and Cash App is going, if you're not using it for business, you shouldn't really worry about it.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, I have a friend that makes t-shirts, and she's like, when you send me Venmo, don't put that it's for a t-shirt, put it's for groceries or something. And I'm like,
put an emoji, put an
emojis, like figure out if it's for a t-shirt or lettuce, like, right?
As tax advice, I can only say if it is business, then claim it as business. What people do in their own personal time, I don't have any, you know, I can't say anything
You're
to
not
that.
Gonna scroll through our Venmo and
and that's another thing too that's kind of hard. That's another thing too, it's kind of hard because when you look at your Venmo transactions, you can see what all you've sent and looked at. But then you think, is the IRS going to have the manpower to go through and look through everybody's Venmo account and say, okay, I mean, a lot of it is kind of on the honor system. But again, if you're using it for business, claim it, you know, go forward from there.
Yeah.
So two questions on that. One, if you're using it for business, say you get some income through it and you report it, there's not going to be any hiccups just because they didn't send you the form, right?
No. So the way that the 1099 form works basically is what another party has reported you got. So that's why say for instance, if Venmo sends you a 1099, Venmo is saying, this is what we on our end are saying that you received. If you don't get a 1099, it just means that Venmo doesn't have any documentation of what they think that you received. So at that point, it is up to your discretion what you want to claim. Okay. I always tell people there's kind of like a threshold. If you don't make more than a certain amount, it is not necessarily considered a business. The IRS considers it a hobby. So there's a little gray area in there with that. But if they send you a 1099, even if it's for $600, if it's for $6,000, you have to report that on your taxes.
And then the follow-up question to that is, say you are pulling in income from Venmo. Are you also allowed to deduct the business expenses that you sent through Venmo?
Yes. So say, for instance, if you received in $2,000 on Venmo from people paying you, but you had to pay a vendor, you had to pay food and gas, you had to pay X, Y, or Z, these things that go along with you running your business, you can deduct that as expenses. And that way that offsets some of that income. So say, for instance, you received $2,000, but you spent out $1,000. Your income is only $1,000 at that point, and that's what you'll be taxed on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. I always wondered about that. I use emojis and then I lose track and I don't know, but I'm going to be better.
Yeah.
Don't think that about me.
No. And again, like it's a learning curve for everybody. So like as it progresses and as it turns, then we'll all learn more together. So at each day, I'm just trying to keep up with the latest on it so I can better serve everybody that I work with. So that's always the goal.
I love
Everything,
that.
especially with the IRS, is always changing.
Oh,
Even when we were talking, I have like calls going into the IRS every day where I'm just trying to get a hold of someone.
I
They
bet it's
just
horrible,
passed me.
right? I
Huh?
bet
Yeah,
it's horrible, like waiting and oh, man, that
yeah, it can be a hassle. It can be such a tough time. And so that's why a lot of times I just tell people, hey, look, I know it can be a hassle for you. It's a hassle for me, but you'd much rather me have to do it and you can wipe your hands of it instead of you having to do it. Yeah.
exactly. And that's already a sign that you have the patience, exactly what Gabby and Araceli were saying. Because I start getting like, oh, come on, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I get antsy. I get anxious. I get all of the things. I have a million questions. And sometimes he'll answer a question and I'll be like, listen, I just need to reword the question to make sure, because it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And having somebody that you can go to and trust with that stuff, it's huge. I did not use a tax professional in prior years. And I very much, I could have saved myself a lot of heartache.
Yeah.
So it's something that now, having had that resource, my God, I won't go without it. And
That's
so
one
I
of the
love
things
what
that I kind of tell people is that I actually provide less of the tax part of it, or just ease of peace of mind for other people, because they're like, I have someone, I send them my stuff, they answer any questions that I have, they ask me questions so that I'm up top, because a lot of times people may not think of certain things. They might think of certain things that they could write off on their taxes. And I try to make sure that whatever is specific to your situation, whatever you have going on, I am on top of those criteria. So
yeah.
No, that's awesome. I love that. And I know you're on vacation right now, right, Alan?
So I was on vacation. Unfortunately, I had to cancel my trip. So I am at home right now. Yeah, there was a situation. We had some pup issues, and now I'm home with the pups right now. Yeah. Fortunately, they're outside. They're not bothering me right now because they would
Right?
be like
Otherwise
right up under the desk. So, but yeah.
awesome. Well, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that your plans got canceled, but I'm still glad that you got to be here on our live stream. So I was trying to be mindful of the timing and whatnot. Araceli was wonderful. I'm just getting you for a resident highlight. I was like, yes, please. I didn't even know. So when she told me about you, I was like, yes, let's have him on. This would be valuable information. And this live stream will live on YouTube forever. So
yeah. And I like to tell people all the time, like,
watch it. So
yeah. I love to tell people all the time, even if you're not a client, ask me questions. I'm always here to help and, facilitate and do anything. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I can't answer questions. Just like, if you ask questions, I'm always here to help, so.
I was telling that to one of our neighbors. I was like, even before I told him like, oh yes, I'm going to hire you for this, I was already asking him stuff, and I felt so much better after having that conversation. And I could tell you didn't mind. Like, I think that's
no, I don't mind
how our jobs work, where it's like, okay, we have to prove to people that we're a good resource, right? And I love what you said, that we're all learning together as all these things change. So it really, really helps to have somebody like you who doesn't mind answering the 50
Yeah, I try to keep on top of it so you don't have to.
Awesome.
Love that. Love that for all of us.
And that could be your little slogan.
I know. And if I could, I would.
My little catch line right there.
Yeah. And Alan, what is the best way now? I wasn't sure, but I did put your phone number on here, but I wasn't sure if this is the best way for folks to get in contact with you. If they're needing help, needing your services, what is the best way for that?
Best way is my number there. It's on the screen. That is my direct line. You can call, text that number pretty much anytime, especially during tax season. I have my phone on me 24/7. Even outside of tax season, I have my phone on me. I just check it a little bit less regularly, but anytime you need, call or text. We do have a website that you can go to, and
well, I had questions over the holidays. You were being so humble, but I had questions over the holidays that I was over there like stressing out so much because it was just one of those things that randomly popped into my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never considered this. I reached out to him, and within 24 hours he had reached out again, and then he touched back in just to make sure I didn't need any more help. I really appreciate how hard you work, Alan.
No problem. Really, I try
awesome.
to avail myself to people because I know that like people have questions all the time.
Yes.
And that just doesn't stop during business hours. I'm also a night owl, so a lot of times people will text me at random times, and I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Wait, you're responding?" I'm like, "I didn't have anything else."
And this is
that happens to us too.
Yeah.
Hey, Alan,
yeah, I bet, especially in the real estate business, I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm displaying the right website for your business.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. That is our website. Yeah, you can go on there, shoot us in. There we have info spot on there. If you want to get info from us, you can reach out to us. But easiest way is text or call. That's always the easiest way.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Yeah, because you never know, man. I'm just saying it's going to live on the YouTube world, so people are going to see this.
Yeah, it's been a great response through the neighborhood Facebook page. We've got a ton of I've got a ton of clients through the neighborhood. So, and we do refer a $25 referral fee, even if you're not a client. If you tell somebody and they use us, you get $25. So tell your friends, tell your family.
Ooh, perfect.
I love referral.
I know, right? We all love referral fees. Free money. No, I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Wait, Alan's gonna be like, we're gonna have to tax you on that money. I'm joking.
We'll do it as a gift card so nobody gets taxed. There we go.
I'm joking. Well, Alan, it was so lovely to have you on our live stream, and thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us and sharing valuable information. Again, guys, if you need to get a hold of Alan, his number is 903-363-7191. And I'm also going to, again, show his website at aataxservices.net. So, Alan, just so you know, when we are done with this live stream, I will post all this information in the description of the YouTube video. That way, other folks that maybe we've had that before. We've had folks that don't live here and they happen to see our YouTube video, and they'll go on that information and talk to whoever they needed help from. So
awesome. So thank you guys again for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on here. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
He gave us all this good info and we just cut him off. My God.
My finger pressed it so fast. Hold on. Hold on. Alan. My finger pressed it so fast. All right, let's do this again, guys.
It's all good.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And you have a good one too, Alan. So sorry, I look bad.
That was so funny. That was an honest mistake, but
all right, bye, Alan.
Bye. Good luck with the pups.
All right, cool. So
that was awesome.
That was awesome. I'm so glad we had Alan on here, and hopefully you guys can utilize him to help you with any tax questions that you may have. Just a reminder that I will add his information into the YouTube description. And let's see here. So we have next coming up when she does have a chance to log in. Maybe Araceli, if you can check in with her. We have Vickie Lasher. She's a mortgage lender, and she's going to be our guest speaker for this live stream. So while we wait on her to come on, perhaps we can jump into some market stats. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Okay, so cool. So let me add this slide on here so we can discuss our market stats. All right, so as we always do, these posts, we will post the slides for this, or the, what do you call it? Just a regular JPEG picture onto the Facebook forum for Easton Park. But to share here, we always do these market stats on the prior month and also into the beginning of this month before we do our live stream. And it's interesting to see. I did also, if y'all recall from our last live stream, we did a year in review, right? And I added this information into that chart here towards the end. It's like the third chart, the third slide here. But for our Easton Park resale, right? Our resales, we have, at the time when I did this slide a few days ago, it was 11 active listings on the resale side. And they're all priced for between $385,000 and $760,000. Our pendings, we have between 646 to 686, and it's only 2 listings, so they're pending around that price point. And then we did have 3 close between all of the month of December into the beginning of January. We had 3 closed transactions ranging between 450 and 650, and the average days on market was 87. So that trend, it's still, continuing as we see here clearly from the stats here. Longer days on market. Do y'all remember the days that the average days on market was like
7?
I don't know, it was like 7, 22, something crazy, right? No, we're now seeing longer. So this is almost approaching 3 months, right? And then the prices haven't dramatically decreased. They remain somewhat, it depends, right? Because Easton Park, for those that don't know, Easton Park, we have our townhome condominiums, and then you have the Meritage homes at the corner where CVS is at. And then you have several other neighborhoods such as Bryant Park, Nob Hill. We have Skyline, Kiki, and whatnot, right? So we have a variety of different homes, small homes to really, really big homes. We have 2-bedroom homes all the way up to like 4. And then you could consider some 5 if they convert the study and whatnot. But we have a wide range of homes, which is why we have a wide range in the prices. And we're including all of that in here. Now, for
also just got to throw it out there.
Yeah, go ahead,
This
please.
is one of those things that makes Easton Park special, is because they have at every point had opportunities for people to live here regardless of their income level. And honestly, that keeps this community so well-rounded, so warm. It's a really, really valuable thing to have. And I think that we can all feel that whenever we talk to each other, because there's just this sense of we're all different in so many different ways. And that is exactly what makes this place special.
Well, to touch on that too, I'll tell a quick story. Oliver played soccer, and I'm meet this mom. Like, we totally hit it off. And then she's like, "Oh, I just moved." I'm like, "Where'd you move to?" She's like, "Oh, this neighborhood called Easton Park." I was like, "I live in Easton Park." Oh my God, now I know 2 people. But it's kind of funny because people that aren't really familiar with Easton Park are like, "Oh, it's so far south," until you get here. And we have such a great community. And I just love it. And I was so excited. She's like, "I live on Apogee." I'm like, "I'm right by the school." She's like, "We can send our kids to play soccer and we can hang out." I'm like, "Perfect. I love it." But that's really what it's all about, is community. And, I always talk about, when we had the snowpocalypse, just so many people just helping each other. And we are a little bit southeast for sure, but we have our own community, and it's perfect.
It's very tight-knit.
Yeah, right? It definitely makes it worth it, especially with all the, we even in the neighborhood, we have wonderful chefs that cook awesome food, right?
Oh,
it's not like we're like doing without. It would be nice to have a restaurant around here, and we do have, retail coming up by the CVS, but that's a ways out still. But we still have
restaurant, like a proper restaurant, when we have Miss Marisa Maldonado's desserts. Anybody who has had those, oh my gosh, they're ridiculous. She makes these cheesecakes that are just incredible. And it's like you said, we've got salsa, we've got enchiladas, we've got everything that you can have.
Everything here, yeah.
And it's a joy whenever you get to actually buy from support people within your own neighborhood to do the things they love to do, right?
Absolutely.
And I've also noticed people are super encouraging. So I love to see that whenever somebody else is like, "Hey, I'm going to start doing this," everybody comes out to support. It's awesome. That's not something you see just anywhere. So sorry, that's not a statistic.
No worries. So getting back to this, guys, we did the resale again. Not a lot of resale activity out there. Price ranges have relatively stayed the same. Since the height of the market, we've kind of just been back and forth on those price reductions. Now, for new construction, look at this is why I had it side by side. The resale side Very few. Look at the new construction. You can see that the new builder sentiment has been low because they're needing to offload this inventory, and it's just so much. They're trying to offer incentives. They're trying to get buyers into their door, and they're also competing with other builders that are in the community, and then owners, right, that are having to sell their own home. They're competing with the new builders as well. So it's you can see here the numbers: 65 homes on the market, ranging from 334 to 899. We have seen on the active price points have lowered. If y'all recall, maybe months ago, we did see our active price points a whole lot higher than that. They're in the 1 million. And now we're seeing the active price points at 899. Pending, we're at between 384 and 1.1 million, with an average days on market. I'm sorry, with 44 of them currently pending. And then for the sold new construction, we're ranging between 352,000 and 910,000. And 17 of those have sold between the month of December into this month. Those new builds are averaging about 55 days, because a lot of the inventory that was old has been kind of moving, and it does mess up with the days a bit. But relatively the same here on the days on market. Now, I also wanted to include leases. We don't want to leave leases out.
Can you go back really quick to the
yeah, for sure. I'm sorry.
The pending new construction. Now, Liza, you and I have lived in the neighborhood for lots of years. That is mind blowing to me that we have $1 million property in Easton.
I know.
Crazy.
So, Bryant Park, let me see if I can refresh my memory. I think the highest price point at the time when new construction was going, remember when the model homes were right there in Bryant Park? I want to say, wasn't it in the high 300s?
Yeah, like 363. Yeah, it was pretty
like 380, 390, I think it was.
Yeah. And
so that is nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? And they're big homes in Bryant Park and Knoxville. They're big. It's just to me, I'm always like, wow, 1.1, 800, 900, the norm, what we're seeing now. I mean, they vary in price point, but when I look at the Newmark homes, and they're averaging between I think they only have one in the, like, maybe a few in the 500s, but most of them are in the high 600s, and a few others into the mid 700s. And then we have Perry homes. They're averaging a whole lot more than the other new builds here. Same with Taylor Morrison. They're averaging around the 700s into the 800s. So, but I do see, I don't know if you guys get the email. And Pacesetter, Pacesetter actually came out with the inventory list.
Yes, so they've got stuff into the 500s.
Yeah. They're trying to offload their inventory as well. I was like, let me see if I can pull up that email.
So I loved looking through that, because they've got something that's like a 4-bed, 2.5 bath.
Yeah,
for $545.
So Garrett, let's see, they have what they have going on, and maybe we need to have him on our live stream to talk about what they have going on. But they do have a rate protection plan, and also locking in the interest rate. Like any other builder, right? They're trying to offer incentives. So let's see here. They have, I want to say, their lowest price point, and you're right, Gabby, it's at $545,000 for a 4-bedroom.
Well, I think they have one at 1912 square feet on Looksee Lane.
Oh, 520.
520.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's completed construction. Oh, so that is the smallest one. They have at 520,000. And then the next one up is the one at 545 at 2191. But these prices, by the way, like in, I don't know, May, June, July, they were not that same home. They were like in the 600s, 700s. I remember that. So to see these prices for that price, the same size, but at a much lower price, it's insane to me, the drastic drops that we've had.
And I have to point out, I know that a big part of the reason we've had that drop is because the interest rates have gone up. But I think one of the things that I would love to have them on here just to talk about their buy downs is the 3-2-1 buy downs, where they have, so essentially they bring down your rate, and then you're able to refi in a couple of years, essentially like cost free, and lock in a new rate, which as inflation is getting better, we expect the rates to get better, right? But the decrease in price, like while there is a really good reason for it overall with how everything's been happening, it still leaves a lot of space for opportunity, even with that higher initial interest rate that we see.
Exactly. And they have improved. So far, interest rates have improved just a bit, which is good. I did a video for my own, personal real estate for my other sphere of influence on DPA programs. So I've seen that they've improved. Even incentives out there have improved. So I am excited about that, and we shall see right as time goes, especially with the inflation reports that are coming up. That's going to be very important to pay attention to. And this is why we do these live streams. I think our community, especially the community we live in, we all need to be aware of what's going on, what could potentially happen. Not that we have a crystal ball, but it's really good to know this information. Hopefully, Araceli can get Vickie on here pretty soon. Hopefully it's not a link issue, but should I send her?
She's saying that it's saying that there's no meeting for her.
Okay, so why don't I do this? Message her right now and let her know I'm going to send her the link that she needs to go to for the live stream. So let's see if she can.
We apologize. We are having some technical difficulties.
It happens, guys. So I'm going to put live stream link here.
So I'm just going to throw out a few more tidbits while you guys are working on that.
Yes, please do.
One of the things that is interesting is I know some of us know that there are these houses with.
Hey, so sorry. On here. Let me take out, guys, real quick. We will resume the market stats, but we have been waiting for Vickie to come on, and we are excited. Oh, her device disconnected. So let me see if she can log in again, maybe from her laptop. If you want to message her, Araceli.
Yeah.
It says here that her device got disconnected. So. Or device not connected or something like that. But go ahead, Gabby, go ahead and finish.
So the big thing is that there are now houses being sold. I mean, they've been sold, but the ones with ADUs, there's a few different ones between like 2,800, 2,900 square feet, between about 750, I think, and 840, which is essentially the whole house. If y'all haven't walked through it, highly recommend it. If that's something that would help you get qualified, for example, or if that's something that would just ease a little bit of the stress on your shoulders, or you have somebody that's considering buying, like whether it's a friend or family member, and they're just kind of on the fence about it, that might be a really good option to show them, because that way they can start getting some passive income while also paying off their own mortgage.
Exactly. And then if I remember correctly, I believe it's 75% of the potential rental income that they could get from that ADU that they can count to offset, right, if they have a debt to income issue. But I see Vickie coming on. Vickie, I'm going to be adding you on here in just a second. You ready? You ready, girlfriend? I'm going to add you right here. Hey.
Hey.
So sorry.
So sorry about that.
No worries. Hey. It's fine. This is a live stream. Nothing is scripted. We're coming at you live. So
we're winging it. We're just glad you're here with us. So thank you for making the time to come join us.
Not a problem.
Yes.
Can you see, or is that light in the back of me too bright?
It's a bit bright, but I think as long as we get the message, I think that's important. So
we're here to pick your brain, Vickie.
Yeah, we're here to pick your brain. So I'm gonna go ahead and Araceli, if you could please formally introduce Vickie to us. We're so excited to have her on here.
Well, this is Vickie Lasher, my dear friend and my personal lender that I used. She's been in the business for lots and lots of years. I could never say enough good things about her. But one of the things I always say is, she's been in the business for years. She used to be an underwriter. I'm pretty sure used to be an underwriter. So she knows what everyone's looking for. And besides being super sweet on the phone, she is very direct. She's going to tell you what you need to do. I will tell my quick story. I was devastated when I was buying my house, and my lender's like, sorry, it's not going to work out. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not going to work out? And I call her and I'm crying. I'm like, I should have called you first. Stop crying, send your stuff, and we'll see what we can do. And,
you made it happen.
I love hearing that. Vickie pulled through.
That's her.
Well, Vickie, tell us about yourself. I know Araceli said a little bit, but we want to hear it from you.
Okay.
We all can get to know a bit more about you. So
Okay. So she's right. I've been in the business for a number of years. I actually started back in 1984. So I have done everything from being an operations manager to underwriting. I underwrote for 25 years, to funding, to running the funding department. I became a loan officer, back in '08, just as the market crashed, and decided to stop being in operations and go ahead and go out into sales. And so that's what I've been doing since. I did, the company I work for, American Financial Network, I did underwrite for them as well as was in sales for quite a while, but concentrating on sales in the last 5-6 years. I'm licensed in, I think, 20 states right now, and I've got like 5 more pending.
Do you have a favorite part of what you do, or a favorite part of your job?
My favorite part is closing. Getting people into their getting people into their homes. I really, for a very long time, I specialized in first-time home buyers. Last year, the last 2 years, that kind of narrowed down just because of the market, and you couldn't get somebody in with down payment assistance. We're kind of getting back to that. Matter of fact, we're working on 3 different down payment assistance programs right now with 3 different buyers.
Is my client one of them?
No, they're not. They're a first-time home buyer, but they're not doing down payment assistance program.
Right on.
So, but those are some of my favorite stories. I had one girl years ago that her and her kids were living in her car, and we got them into a home using a down payment assistance program. I've got another one that was my absolute favorite story. Was I had a client who came to me. They had been looking for a rental because they were adopting a little boy, and they found out the little boy had a baby sister, and they wanted to adopt her too. And they were told that their apartment was too small, they couldn't have her. So we went on this whole journey together, getting them into a home, and we literally closed Christmas Eve. And the social workers brought over the little girl to her forever home on Christmas
Oh my
Eve.
gosh.
that is the best story.
That one still makes me tear up every time I think about it. So, and they still stay in touch. They've sent me pictures of the kids every once in a while.
And Vickie, I know you changed Aracella's life when she talked about you to us and gave us the background. It was literally this woman did everything she could, and she made my dream happen. Yeah. Without her, I couldn't have done it. And that is,
so now I'm teary-eyed.
Yeah. Don't start Araceli, because you're gonna make me cry.
I'll go ahead and cry. It's fine. It's a beautiful thing.
We're gonna all cry, right? So.
No, I don't want to cry. No.
I just wanted to give a shout out because I love that you're passionate about it, and I think sometimes people see like, oh, it's a lender or a realtor, and they don't see how much of our own heart we put into this stuff. And obviously, your story says that, but also the effect that you've had on your clients that I've seen firsthand. It's a beautiful thing. So I really have a lot of respect for you there.
It was so cool closing your loan. It really was.
Aw,
it made me so happy.
The relationship, the bonding you have with your client is very genuine. And I can tell that's probably why people love you and they love working with you, because you have that. You need that. That's, I feel, I could be wrong on this, but I feel like that's the missing element or touch that a lot of people miss when they're in a business, right?
Right.
Bonding the relationship, because this is very much in all aspects of any kind of business that you're operating. We miss that relationship element, that bonding, right? Because we're still humans.
You got to be good at everything, but you've got to be really good at caring about the people you're working for. And there are just some people that excel in that, and it seems you were one of those. So.
Yeah, you do. You really do have to excel in that. It's funny because when I had a small office in California years ago, and we had an area set up for kids, and people would just come in and they'd bring their kids in, and they'd come and they'd sit down in front of me and they'd talk for hours. And, and they weren't even in the middle of getting their loan, or they got their loan, or they were 2 years away from it. But I think the personal connection, especially in this business, you guys have more of a personal connection on the lender side. there's so often we don't even meet the clients.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And especially now in the digital age, and even more so after COVID, everything's digital, everything's online. Clients go to these online lenders and they talk to 10 different people. When you come to me, you talk to me and you talk to my processor, and that's it. And we really believe in not only you're a client for life, you're a friend for life. And I have met so many good people and so many friends, and that we just stay in touch. I send out birthday cards. We normally send out Christmas cards. I didn't this year, but I don't know what happened this year.
This year it was off, right? Was it
Yeah.
for anybody else? I don't know. It was like a weird.
There's a lot going
Start
on.
sending summer cards.
Huh?
Maybe we should start sending summer cards.
Summer cards, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Happy summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might do something, like Easter or something instead. I don't know. This year it really got away from me. So it was so crazy busy, and then it kind of stalled, and then all of a sudden it started to pick up, and it's crazy busy again.
Yep.
So maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll do Easter cards. That might be some
There
for
you
spring, something like that. Yeah.
Spring. But speaking of that, you did mention you're getting busy again. Now, do you? Is that due to the interest rates? What do you see happening in the lending realm? Because I'm kind of curious. A lot of people have held back.
Okay.
At least I personally had a lot of buyers in the beginning of the year and into the summer completely they waited, right? They're like, we're going to wait, or we're going to lease another year, or we're going to look elsewhere, or it was a variety of reasons. And it was like a chunk of buyers just completely halted. So I'm curious to know from your perspective, what's happening? What do you see?
So I think a lot of us are noticing more people stepping back into it. They've been waiting to see what would happen, and somehow this is the moment where it seems like a lot of people are trickling in. Is that what you're seeing?
So it is. And so this is kind of what happened. So remember, I've been in this since 84. So I've seen this happen.
Yes.
Now, this is my fifth go around, I believe, fourth or fifth. So what happened, and this has been the worst of them all. I mean, even in 07, 08, we still had foreclosures that were being sold. There were still buyers, there were still investors, but this time I think it devastated people. First off, to start with, people were having to bid, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 over asking price, right, to get their homes. And then all of a sudden it came to a dead halt. It wasn't even the slow descent. It was just 1 minute we were doing loans, and the next minute everything dried up because they.
Oh, hold on, Vickie.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I want to know when that was.
Hold on a second, Vickie. If you want to, maybe it's a camera. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, let me see.
Oh, we can't hear you, Vickie.
Can't hear you, Vickie. Hold on, Vickie. We can't hear you. I don't know if she can hear us.
I want to know because I
Hold
started noticing it in September, August. What about y'all?
Hold on a second.
Slow down.
It's not letting me unmute her mic. All right, hold on, Vickie. Give me a chance here. I'm going to give me a chance. Let me remove you, and then I'm going to add you back on. Let me see. Talk. Wait, that didn't work. Oh, I still can't hear you. That's so weird. Maybe she's going to get back in a minute. It's probably like a connection. But it was right at the cusp, but she was saying something interesting.
I'm like,
that's it, guys. Bye. No, just kidding.
There was this moment where it was all going, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, okay.
Literally like our live stream.
Yeah.
No, we're going to get her back.
We'll get her back.
We'll get her back, y'all.
Yeah, I think she's having a device connection issue, because I see here on my end it says device not connected, but hopefully she gets back on, and I'll add her on here in a sec. By the way, I've never met Vickie, but I already love her. I love her. Has this great personality. Something about her is very warming. Like, it's like, aw, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can tell she really cares. So hopefully we can get her back onto our live stream, guys. I know she has a lot of valuable information. It seems like she's seen all these cycles, and it was interesting for me to hear that this one was the worst of them all. I really want to get a bit more of her perspective, because I've only been in real estate for a little over 10 years. So I haven't seen all these cycles. All right, Vickie, I'm adding you in. Let's see. Go ahead and talk, and maybe we can hear you. No, I can't hear you. I can't hear anything. Oh no. I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we still can't hear you. No. I don't know
What if you try turning off the video?
No, I still don't hear you.
How do we
No.
troubleshoot this?
Yeah. I have no idea. And I don't even know if that'll work. Yeah, we still can't hear you.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
Oh, wait.
We heard you.
Wait.
It worked for like almost 3 seconds.
Wait, who said it's such a bummer?
I said it's such a
Oh, okay. No, that was Araceli. Yeah. I was like, no, I don't think that was Vickie. So hopefully she can join us here in a bit. Maybe Vickie, if you're still hearing us, maybe you can join if you have a laptop. Yeah, it's not working. I see like a little. No, not working for us.
I wonder if I can FaceTime her. And
yeah, you know what? Maybe you can call her, and perhaps she can join in that way. Or if she has a laptop, maybe she can click on the link and then.
Yeah. Hi, I can hear you, but we're on FaceTime, so I'm trying to figure out how we can make this work. Because we all want to know. We're on the edge of our seats trying to figure out how. Okay, hold on.
Does she have a laptop with her? Do you know?
I do, but I tried to get on through the laptop, and it kept telling me that I had to sign in with Google Chrome, which I was
okay.
on.
Okay. Tell her, Araceli, that I just sent her an email. If she can just click that link, she does not need to sign into Google Chrome. There's an email that I sent her with the title live stream link.
Okay.
And see if that will work. I almost positive that that's probably what the issue is, and maybe that'll work for her to log in.
You're doing great, Vickie.
You're doing great. Don't worry, it's okay. I had this happen on a live stream on a not the Easton Park live stream, but another live stream that I was doing with another one of my colleagues. She had there was a thunderstorm happening over Manor, and I'm in Austin, so I'm not experiencing anything, but the entire block in their neighborhood, the electricity cut off. So she was like, she's gone. And I'm like trying to do this live stream. I'm like, where are you at, girl? It took a while for her to come back on, but yeah, so things like this happen, and it's cool. I mean,
well, worst case, I vote we still do the put her up there and let her just.
Yeah, it doesn't even let me put her up on there. So
I'm Araceli holding the phone.
I'm gonna FaceTime her from my MacBook, so then the screen will be bigger. Okay, I'm gonna hang up and call you back. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, well, give me 1 second because I'm trying to get in on your live stream too. So.
Okay.
Let's see if that.
Just a second. This is so bizarre. Now my computer's doing really weird things.
No worries. What I can do is I'm going to go ahead and finish the market stats. So guys, I'm going to add this back on. And as a refresher, resale is on the left-hand side and new construction sales are on the right-hand side. And as you can see, we have tons of new construction inventory. that are still active, 65 of them. We have a big chunk of them, 44 of them that went under contract, and 17 have recently sold in the month of December and into the month of January. And we have them at an average days of 55 days on the market. So resale homes are actually staying on the market a lot longer now, because the prices are just as, they're out there. You know what I mean? Like if you look at the pending, this is a wide range, right? Because we have the new construction, they're selling everything in between, right? But what we have here for the pending and closed, they're around the 600, mid 600s to high 600s on 2 that went pending and the 3 that closed, highest being 650. Now, we also have residents here in the neighborhood that are either in need of leasing their house because either they're moving or it was an investment property, or we may have individuals that are looking to lease here in Easton Park, right? Maybe they want to try it out or whatever the reason may be. Here's the next slide for leases, what the comps look like for that. Right now, well, when I did this a few days ago, we have our active leases. The price ranges were between $2,395 to $3,600 a month, and we have 7 of those listings on the market. For pending leases, they range in prices between $2,590 to $3,500 a month, and we have 6 of them pending right now. And as far as yeah, go ahead.
Can you explain to them what the pending leases mean, or do you want me to explain it? Because I think a lot of people might not know what that means.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely explain that. So active means that it's a home that's currently active on the market. The landlord or the owner is accepting applications because they're trying to lease out their property. Pending means that there has been a potential tenant that has submitted an application and the landlord is considering working with that application. So they put it in pending status, right? And normally there's property managers that work that differently. Sometimes there's of active under contract, which means they're reviewing the application. They've decided to work with that tenant and they won't put it into P meaning pending, until they've accepted and they, pretty much signed the lease for that.
Right.
Just they either haven't moved in, or sometimes I'll put it means a variety of things, but really It means that they decided to work with an application. And leased obviously means that it's already been completely leased out. And
they signed the contract, that's it. But pending can be they accepted, maybe they put down a deposit, or maybe just they accepted and essentially there's something still missing. Leased, the contract is signed, deposit is taken, all of that fun stuff.
Yes, for leased properties, we have 2 recently. For the month of December and into the month of January, we have 2 that recently leased between 2,500 and 3,500. We're looking at average days on the market for 43 days. So it's a little like a month and a half. So if you are interested, if you're on the landlord side, you're potentially interested in leasing your property, you can realistically look at a month and a half for it to be on the market before it does lease out. And they're in between these price points. Or if you're looking to lease here at Easton Park, this is what you can realistically expect to lease, right? So it's in other words, it's really hard. Under 2,400 a month is going to be hard in Easton Park. You're going to be looking upwards to that, right? 2,500, 2,600, even into 3,600, depending on how big the home is here in Easton Park.
I actually, I have a lease that's closing on, they're moving in on the 15th, but I've been working with them since last August, and they wanted to be in Easton Park so bad that they're like, we're not looking anywhere else. They had very specific goals. They wanted to be in Skyline because his best friend lives here. And I was just like, I was going through my notebook and I'm like, dude, like we've been working together since August. They were like adamant about being in Easton Park. And I'm like, why don't you just buy? But they wanted to.
Some people want to try it out. Like I actually had a potential client that they were moving in from New York, and the one thing that he didn't like was that it wasn't fully developed yet, right? Like the retail, he really wanted that Mueller feel, because it was between Easton Park and Mueller. So it's interesting to see that people that are actually have considered Mueller, they're also considering Easton Park. And then he was looking at the lease prices. And he's like, well, holy crap! The leases here Oh, there she is. Okay, hold on. Let me.
Hold on, I gotta rearrange everything so I could bring her
No
up.
worries. Okay, so guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the slide. Vickie is gonna be on Araceli's laptop, so we can continue with her. Vickie, you look so tiny. Here, where's your
Hold
up?
on. I need to go up higher. Hold on,
There you
hold
go.
on.
I have a feeling it might be, we have really bad contact right now. So
There
I
you
don't
go.
know if your internet.
Can you turn it up there, Sally? Like the volume?
Hello. Can you talk, Vickie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
A
good.
whole lot better.
I'm gonna go up one more. Let's see.
We are dying to hear what you have to say.
We want to know.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Vickie. Take it away, girl.
All right. So anyway, like I was saying, the market just kind of came to this dead stop, and rates kept rising, and people thought that the housing market was going to crash. But the thing is we still have a housing shortage. So
Yep.
what happened in 2007, 2008, our builders stopped building, but all the millennials started to get older. And then as COVID hit, all the older people, so normally that you have this whole process of elimination of people versus housing, right? The younger generation grows up, they move into their first house, that first house, they move into their second house or third or fourth, and then the older people move into homes, like retirement homes.
Right.
Well, when COVID hit, people stopped moving into retirement homes. I mean, everybody was dying in retirement homes. So people are holding on to their homes, and we're seeing this within our own family. My mother, who really needs to go into an assisted living, is absolutely refusing. So nobody can buy her house, right? Which has caused the stagnation of homes and the ability to have that move up process happen. So we ended up with this home shortage, which is why you saw homes going above and beyond their asking price, last 2 years. Well, what happened is when the market came to this dead stop, is because people who could afford a $500,000 home now could only afford $350,000, but there weren't any $350,000 homes.
Mm-hmm.
So there needed to be some sort of market correction. I really feel we've seen that market correction, and our rates have dropped. Now, like I said, the feds are saying they're not going to lower rates next year, and they're probably going to increase them, but the increase is only going to be 0.25% this month, 0.25% next month. Okay. It's not going to be drastic, and I think we've already seen that increase within interest rates. We're already seeing down payment assistance are literally coming down. Last week, I was quoting a down payment assistance with 5%, and the down payment is 7.625. Today, it's 7.125. That's a huge difference.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So the market is stabilized. We're going into the time frame where people start buying because they are going to start getting their tax refunds back. Mm-hmm. So, they're going to start using those. And people still want to move. People got scared. They backed off. The market stabilized. And we're going to start seeing it move again. Not like it did in 2020, 21.
Right.
That's not going to happen. But it's going to return to a normal market. That's my feeling. And I'm seeing that. We literally, in the last week and a half, my team has put 10 new loans, 10 new purchases into contract. So, and we haven't seen that in the last 4 months.
Yeah. So would you say about 4 months ago is when you started seeing the stagnation?
We actually started to see the stagnation in June. It started to really slow down, purchase-wise. And then it really, as the fourth time they raised it 3/4, it just kind of died out. Right? I mean, I was talking to my realtors who had their houses on the market since April or May, and they hadn't even had one showing.
Yeah.
And now I just had a borrower who lost a house because there was multiple offers.
Yep. I'm hearing of that too. Multiple offers. Yeah.
I know a lot of our colleagues have had listings sitting for 1 to 2 months, and then over the last week, they've had multiple showings and offers, and it's just.
Yeah. And I think thank you for bringing that up, Gabby. That's a huge misconception that just because it's been in the market for a while doesn't mean that there can't be multiple offers after it's been on the market for a while, because that happens over time. We start moving forward. Maybe there's an improvement. Maybe things have settled since that home has been on the market. And that's what happened with one of my listings. I had it on the market at the height of the market where it just wasn't moving. We're right there at the high. And all of a sudden we had no showings, right? And then we were on the market for a few months. And then we started getting more showings and people asking me, hey, do you have any offers? I'm like, no, this is weird. Like no offers, but things were improving that we did have a multiple offer situation on that particular listing. But yeah, I see that happening. And it's strange that you say that, because on one of my other colleagues also mentioned that she had a multiple offer situation and she was shocked because she hasn't had that in a hot minute. So
yeah, and we're seeing it all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I had a realtor in California who literally had 11 listings and had not sold a property since April, and now she's got 5 of them in escrow.
Yeah.
So it's starting to move, and I think like I said, I don't think we're going to see the levels we did for the last 2 years, or for the beginning of last year,
which is for the best.
We're going to see a more normalized market.
Yeah, I'm hoping so as well. I mean, I know interest rates with the feds, they're really trying to get inflation down, and I understand the purpose of increasing the interest rates little by little so we can be more in a balanced market and bring inflation down. But I'm really hoping that it doesn't get back to something crazy like 2021. I'm hoping we do come back to normal levels and we continue to stay there to give buyers the opportunity to buy a home. Because just like you said, Vickie, I know it doesn't feel like it, but we still have a shortage of homes nationwide. So although homes are on the market for a long time, it's not moving. People think it's going to crash. People can think whatever, but we can look at stats and have a better understanding with what's really going on, right? So I'm curious to know. Right before you had cut off, you had said something earlier that you've been through so many cycles. You've experienced these cycles firsthand in the same line of business or work, that I'm curious to say, why do you say that this one has been the worst one? I just want to know your perspective from your viewpoint.
Okay. Because first, we've never seen the feds raise rates the way they've raised them, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I say that, but back in, I want to say 81, 82, they jumped really, rates jumped. They went literally from 8% to 11% overnight when the stock market crashed. But that was short term, and it fell back down. Now, at that point, I wasn't actually in the mortgage industry. Mm-hmm. I was selling manufactured homes. So I don't remember all the statistics back mm-hmm. then. I didn't enter the mortgage industry until 84. Okay. But the other cycles, we still were busy. We still had clients that were looking. We still had things going on there. And then this time, my buyers just disappeared. They were just like, nope, we can't do this. And they were gone. And refis too, back even in 07, 08, I can't tell you how many refis I did. Yeah. People who had gotten themselves in trouble, they had not used their equity in their home. They still could use it. They had bought all the toys that there were. And, we were refinancing them doing cash out loans. This time it's been more interesting because my cash out loans, which actually aren't a cash out situation, but I've done more loans for people getting divorced and buying out a spouse than I've ever done before.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of a scary situation, because I've known these people for 10, 15, 20 years, and people I never thought would ever get divorced. In these last 2 years, that's what's happened.
Mhm.
So those are the refinances that I'm seeing more than anything right now. So worst situation, yeah, because I'm watching people I care deeply about go through things that I don't want them to go through, and the market just went stagnant. It didn't even slow down. It just went stagnant for a while.
Yeah.
The layoffs have been massive. I don't know if you've heard, Wells Fargo is getting out of the home loan industry, basically, and they've just pulled back. They're no longer doing correspondent loans, which means, so my company, as a correspondent, we underwrite, we originate, we underwrite, we fund the loan, right? And then we sell. That's a correspondent. And Wells Fargo was one of the biggest correspondent lenders. They're the ones who bought the most loans. Well, the CFPB just hit them with a $3.7 billion fine.
Wow.
Completely pulled out. They didn't. It wasn't even a slowdown. They just said, we are no longer buying correspondent loans. End of story. So that's going to be a huge hit across the market, because they bought so many loans and they service so many loans. They service one of my loans.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see that. Chase got hit with a huge fine. Now they haven't pulled out, but who's next? So I think the ramifications of the rapidly increasing interest rates and the slowdown in the market is going to affect more people. It normally takes a year to 18 months for companies to really see the effect, if they don't get everything under control really quick. And that's one of the reasons I'm glad when I'm with AFN. They've been around a long time. I've been with them a long time. I left for a very short period and I came right back. And they've got it together. Mm-hmm. So, they saw it coming. They started their layoffs, which is horrible for people, but yeah, you got to protect the company or there's no jobs. So,
right. Yeah, I had a friend / client that she also used to be a lender for a short period of time. She was on a high, I guess, if you want to say, in 2021 into 2022. And it completely it halted when it halted, right? So she had to leave that job because her income literally in half, right? She was like, I can't, it's not sustainable for me. And even that company that she was working for, they were also doing layoffs because it was a brand new company. So we started seeing that a lot. Like even another person that I know that's a lender, he was like, man, the number of applications have been extremely low. And so I started hearing this a lot, and I'm like, wow. So you start putting that together with the interest rates, with inflation, with unemployment, people getting laid off. You know what I mean? It's just it's crazy to see
the
all
stock market having taken a big old dump.
So yeah, it's definitely I 2023. I hope it's more of a balanced market. It's going to be interesting because the last live stream that we did, we were just talking about some of the forecasts that other companies are putting out there about increase in unemployment and increase in in interest rates, the decrease in prices for real estate. I mean, all kinds of things, and I'm curious to see how that's going to play out in February and March and whatnot. So what do you have to say about that? Besides you thinking it's going to get more normalized, do you think will improve in 2024, or this just continue throughout the year in 2023? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, so this sounds really horrible. I don't mean to put people.
No, please.
2024 is an election year, right?
Yeah.
So normally, if you look at it historically, the housing market does not do good when Democrats are in office.
Yeah.
It does very well when a Republican is in office. And that's just the historical facts. Mm-hmm. So I really feel that we're going to see, it's going to slow down. You're going to see a lot of realtors getting out of the business. You're going to see a lot of lenders getting out of the business. It used to be funny because we used to say when this happened, oh yeah, so the lenders can go back to selling used cars like they used to.
Oh, ouch.
Because, I mean, in the 80s, it was a joke through the entire industry. Yeah. So, but you're going to see a lot of these people who jumped in for the fast, easy money are going to go away.
Yeah.
And that's going to normalize it for the rest of us who have time and, have a footprint in the business.
Right.
Those of us who are willing to work hard, who are willing to get up and make a go of it and not just wait for somebody to send in an application and throw it against the wall and see if it'll stick. Mm-hmm. Those of us who can take a look at something and go, okay, well, it won't work this way, but let's do it this way.
The problem solvers is what I'm hearing. The people who are invested emotionally in their client's success and who don't mind working with them for 1 to 2 years before a big decision comes up, just so they feel empowered when the time comes.
Well, even talking about people, not realtors not staying in the business. So dues were just up, and a lot of people did not pay their dues. They're not renewing their license, and it's definitely not for the faint at heart. It's a grind.
You gotta have those long-term goals. You have to love what you do, be doing it for the right reasons, or you'll get out within a few years. I think
exactly. Yeah, and you do. You absolutely do have to love what you do, and you can't just be in it for the money, because money follows the success, right? I mean, if you are successful at what you do, if you bust your rear for your clients, if you're there when they need you, if you make yourself available, if you know what you're doing and you protect them, the money will follow. But a lot of these people jumped in and the money was just there.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, unlike you guys, there's so many part-timers out there.
Yeah.
And they're just going to disappear, both in lending and in real estate. There's so many part-time lenders, that have another job or 2 jobs, and they're going to disappear. And so that'll stabilize it for the rest of us, because there won't be the pool that there used to be in the last few years, but there won't be the competition that there used to be either.
Or at least the competition will be better quality. I would much rather be lumped in with competition that is doing really well, that has high standards for themselves, Can't stand it when people make us look back and don't care about
it. Alone, and it's 3/4 of the time it's my listing agents or my agents who listed the house calling me going, can you save this? Because that lender had no idea. They had no idea how to read tax returns. And I see that so much. I have clients who come back to me, they'll jump for a rate. Somebody's giving them an 8 better, which is really dumb, but people do it anyway. And I just had a client do that. Last minute, they decided to jump for a rate, and theirs was not an easy loan to put together. And I know they're going to be back, because I know who they went to. They went to an online company, and that online company is not going to help them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Nothing against, I'm not talking bad about lenders or anything, but I recently had a transaction with Rocket Mortgage. And they completely screwed my client. Like it was on a new build, and they promised and overpromised to my client, yes, you're going to get this rate. They actually had a wonderful package put together. No matter the incentives at the new builder, Taylor Morrison, what they were offering, wow, it was insane incentives.
They can afford to do that because they don't have to.
Right. And then, so it happened with last minute. Seriously, it was like a few days to closing. They didn't even call me. They just sent me an email. We can't do this anymore. Like, we can't do this loan anymore. And I'm like, why? What happened? And they didn't even explain anything to me. And it was horrible, because they had instructed my client to pay off his house in order for him to qualify for the next house. And that's what my client did. So anyways, when we had switched over, when we switched over to another lender last minute, actually, we ended up working with the Taylor Morrison lender, because it was the only way we could make it work in order for them to work with us about extending the closing date and making everything happen. But long story short, that lender, when he spoke to me, he was like, I can't believe they told him to pay off his house when we could have worked something else at closing and had him qualify and he'd not be short on funds. It was just very stressful for my client all around. But yeah, I see that happening a lot. People are jumping in at these interest rates, right? Something about the interest rates. They forget everything. Everything goes out the window and they just see that shiny number and they want to go for that up until everything's going well. They're what do you call it? Firm in their decision up until the last minute when
everything hits the fan because nobody is emotionally invested in their success. And I had something like that happen with BM where they essentially, my client asked them many times, like, hey, I want to confirm that this is fine. Like, we don't need this. And 3 days before the closings, even though they'd had about 4 months to look into everything and had 3 different people. Because like you were saying, Vickie, a lot of times they'll just pass you around to 4, 5, 10 different people. And that's what had happened. Right. And they had all said, oh, yes, you're totally fine. We ran this. My client kept saying, I feel like this is off. Like, I feel like we should have, in this case, he felt like he needed to get a lease in place for his first home. And they kept telling us, no, you're good. Like, you're absolutely fine. 3 days before closing, they said, actually, you are going to need it. Yeah. So by the grace of God, we were able to get a lease lined up so that he could actually close on his home. But that would have literally been the difference between him getting a house and not. And that would have been about a little over 12 months worth of work just down the drain, because it's a lot easier to tell somebody what they want to hear and their business that way than it is to be.
Not to mention that your client would have lost his earnest money, you would have lost the option money, you would have lost the appraisal money, the inspection money. Everything. So that's a lot of money on the table, that people, for them to lose, Yeah. So you've got to know what you're doing. And that's what I'm hoping is that we do see a correction.
Mm-hmm.
More knowledgeable.
We can go back to the way mortgages and real estate should be. It should be fun and it should be exciting and it shouldn't be stressful.
I agree.
It's a little bit of stress.
It's a little bit of stress.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little bit.
And you have the right lender, that stress should be really phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can I ask one more?
It really should be, because they should be on it. They should be telling you what's going on. You should be able to call them anytime and alleviate that stress.
So I have another question for you around the. Oh no! Did it just freeze?
It's fine. You can ask it. I think she can still hear.
Oop. It's just me
and you, Vickie. No, it's not me.
No, it's not Vickie. It's actually
you know what I was just thinking about? That 2.75 interest rate that I
Well, so
I know. I'm like, I don't even care. I'll have because it's FHA. I'll keep that PMI because it's not even worth trying to refinance. And no.
So I'm really curious what you think about the potential ramifications of the Wells Fargo fine, because I just did I looked it up real fast, and it says that a lot of it was based on illegal activity and and being a repeat offender, a corporate recidivist, as far as how they mismanaged things. A lot of stuff like repeatedly misapplying loan payments, wrongfully foreclosing on homes, illegally repossessing vehicles, incorrectly assessing fees and interest. And this happened over multiple years that harmed over 16 million consumer accounts. So that.
So here, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so that to me, it seems like I'd heard stories about things like this happening where people were like, they're just foreclosed, like this doesn't make sense. And now I'm curious, could this potentially lead to a better management of loans? Like, could this actually be the catalyst for better management, or is this another slap on the wrist at the end of the day that they're going to find a way to make it right? And like, what do you see having seen things play out over all these years?
So they blame management, right? And there are some managers that are in there and definitely are to blame. But what the catalyst is you have people like you and me, right, who are making decisions based on whatever information they have. And whether it's right or wrong, I mean, how many people do they have, these managers have, that report to them? So if I used to manage a mortgage company years ago, and I had over 200 people that directly reported to me. How do I track every one of their movements and make sure that they're always in the right, and that they're always adhering to ethics and to morals? That's a very hard thing to do. And Wells Fargo, you're talking thousands and thousands of employees. So I really think it's a slap on the wrist. I don't think it, and if you think Wells Fargo's is the only one who's doing things that are illegal, they're all doing it. Mm-hmm. Every single company out there has had issues. There have been so many companies that have been slapped for, illegal solicitation, illegal foreclosures, repossessions, even as far down as, overdraft fees. Mm-hmm. So do I think they're going to revamp their management? Yeah, probably. There's going to be some revamping. Will this happen again? Yeah, it's going to happen again, because people are people. Yeah. You can't control the masses. You can control your small sector, and you're hoping that that sector is being controlled, or the sector below that's being controlled. So as far as how is this going to hurt us, well, they are a big player. And they did have some very aggressive pricing out there. But there's Chase will step up, PennyMac will step up. Some of these smaller companies, our company, we have the ability to service our own loans.
Oh, nice.
We don't do it per se, but we have that ability. So maybe we start servicing a few more loans, and the gaps will start to be filled in. It's just going to take a little while. And quite honestly, Wells Fargo will get back in the game. It might be 12 months, it might be 24 months. They're not going to stay out of it. Mortgages are a moneymaker, and especially now with the higher interest rates, right?
Right.
I mean, they're sitting on a lot of interest rates right now at 2.5, 2.25, 2.75. That's not going to make them any money. So they're going to have to step it back up, and because they're going to have to diversify that portfolio. Because they're not going to be able to sell those loans off. There's not going to be anybody who's going to buy. Not unless they discount them. So at some point they'll have to step back in. Are they just taking a break and reorganizing? Probably. I'm sure their heads are going to roll. I'm sure there's going to be some firing of some upper echelons. But, in the long run, how much of an effect is it going to have? Well, it's going to affect the people that are getting laid off right now.
Yeah.
It's going to affect, but it's not us overall. I don't think, I think it is going to be, it's going to hurt a little, but I don't think it's not going to be devastating.
Okay. And would you say that there's anything consumers can do to inform themselves and essentially protect themselves from?
Are you guys back?
Oh, sorry, what? Oh,
it froze again.
It's very.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was just asking, is there anything that consumers can do whenever they're shopping for loans, whenever they're working with lenders and solidifying a product, in order to make sure that their loans don't get sold off to?
Are you asking if there's anything
that the buyer can do? Sorry, it cut out. I couldn't hear her.
When they're shopping?
I think it kind of, Vickie. Do you want to repeat that question, Vickie?
Okay, I think I got what you're saying. You kept breaking up really bad. So you're asking if there's anything a consumer can do when they're shopping for a home loan? So the biggest thing a consumer can do is make sure you know who you're working with.
Absolutely.
your loan officer, Google your realtor. Make sure you know that you're dealing with somebody who's reputable and honest. You know, I mean, I know you can go on and read you guys' reviews, and they're probably phenomenal. You can go on and read my reviews, and you're not going to find anything bad in them. There are so many out there that you go on and you know, they've got 1 star or even a 3-star. If you got a 3-star, you know, average review, you're not doing something right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you want to look for somebody that's at least a 4.6 or higher, because those are the people. Because you're always going to have your people who are going to slam somebody, no matter what you do. You just can't get away from those people. But you know, 4.6 or higher, and you know, 30, 40, 50 reviews, you know that you've got somebody who's working for you. And I think that's the most important thing, is know who you're working with and know that they're looking out for your best interest.
Right.
Because it can.
I agree. And, you know, it's kind of weird. Maybe this is a little bit related or not, but I think this year, a lot of people are going to be more aware of what has transpired in the past couple of years, that we're going to be very cautious, and we're going to be doing a lot of research on people we work with. It's going to be very, I don't know if I'm clear on what I'm trying to say, but people are going to be very savvy with information. They're going to understand that data is important, and they're not going to make a rash decision this year. At least I don't think, because I see a lot personally with at least my clients. I see that they're asking a lot of questions. They're not rash with their decision making. They take their time. They research people. They ask, you know what I mean? Like, they're really well informed coming into this, you know, as far as real estate's concerned, when they're going to make a purchase, or they're going to sell, or they're choosing their realtor or their lender if they're going to finance. They're very savvy now. So yeah, I agree with the reviews, researching your folks, and definitely understanding the data. I'm really hoping that anybody that's watching out there, or that who will watch this video in the community, or if they're considering moving here to Easton Park, hopefully this is valuable to you guys. That and obviously, if you guys have any questions that you wanted to kind of touch base with, you know, offline, then I will connect. I have Vickie's number here on the screen, but I will also connect it to the YouTube description of the video. That way, Vickie, if that's okay with you, I would love to put your email, your site, and your phone number on there. That way people know how to get in touch with you if they have something that they want to ask you, or they need your help with on the financing side. So hopefully that's
for our neighbors. We'll also put it into the Easton Park Neighborhood group.
Yes.
So
in our Facebook group. Yeah, correct.
That. So, and just let them know too. I mean, even if it's not my loan, if they're already dealing with another lender, I'm not out there to steal any other lender's business. That's not the way I work. But if somebody has a question and they're not understanding, you know, one of the things I am very good at is explaining in a different way. I was a trainer for years, and so you learn to adapt to the way people learn. That was kind of sounding funny. You learn to adapt to the way they learn. But anyway,
you know what? You're working in flow with your people. Yes, I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so if they're not understanding something, even if it's not my loan, if they just have a question, they are more than welcome to call me, because I really believe knowledge is power. And you know, and no, I'm not doing their loan, but you know, down the road, maybe they have a friend they'll refer, or you know, and I'd rather people know what they're dealing with than go into it blindly, especially in these times. You know, you really need to know what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have. And here's another thing that I always say in every live stream, that I think people, whether we realize it or not, subconsciously, we are attracted to a certain type of personality of folks that we want to work with. So I think people here will see that from you, right? The bonding that you have with your clients, the stories that you have shared, they're naturally going to be attracted to working with you because just of that alone, right? We've noticed that we haven't even talked about all the transactions that we've done, any awards that you received. It's not about that anymore. It's more about, can I work with you, right? Can I trust you? This is a very much heavy into the trust relationship part of the business. So people want to be able to trust you because it is a big, big transaction. Probably the biggest for a lot of people, the majority of people. So we definitely need to trust who we work with, aside from them being knowledgeable with what they're doing. And obviously you have that since the 80s. So and you've been through all these cycles. So you definitely have that wealth of knowledge in there. So
thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's invaluable.
Anytime. I'm sorry it was such a rocky start.
No worries.
Thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, I actually like stuff being not so perfect sometimes. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you're like your head, like I see your head right there. It's kind of cute. Well, Vickie, thank you so much for joining our live stream and for taking the time out of your day to be here with us and sharing all this knowledge. I will pin all your information when we are done with this live stream in the description of this YouTube video. And I also have here your name. So all the folks that can see while you were talking, they can see your number. So hopefully you get some business out of this, some phone calls, some texts. Please don't be shy, guys. Make sure you call her. I will pin her information so you can get in touch with her in other ways if you choose to do so. But other than that, Vickie, thank you so much for joining our live.
Vickie Lasher, everybody.
Lasher.
Awesome.
You're welcome. Have a blessed day.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, what a sweetheart. Oh my gosh.
Sweet.
I love her.
I love her.
I'm telling you.
Thank you for introducing us, Araceli. She's very awesome. Like I feel, I don't know, like she's a kind soul almost, like very connected to you in a way. It's not all about business, but at the same time it is, if that makes any sense. But yeah, she
seems to share our values in a really big way. Because I know that one thing that the three of us has talked about is how we're in this to help people. So it's like whenever we get an opportunity to be a resource, that's the thing that makes us happy. And even if somebody is going to be working with someone else, just having the opportunity to talk with them is already such a gift, right?
Yeah.
So I love her outlook on life and on taking care of people. And thank you again, Araceli, for getting her on here.
No, it's she made me cry. I might cry again. So.
Girl, don't cover your face right now. Because you're gonna make me cry. I get like when I see other people cry, I start crying. But okay, I'm gonna brush that off.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
So now let's talk about some other exciting things. Coyotes construction.
Let me finish the stats real quick for this real quick. I was here on the leases part, right? So for anybody that, just to wrap up on that, anybody that's looking to lease or you guys are wanting to lease your place, this is what you can expect. About 43 days on the market and between 25 to 3,500 as of the recent stats that we've had for the month of December and into January. Now, just to kind of tie everything in together with what I've just said on the resale, new construction, and leases, this is the lines here. For Austin is the blue line. We have the yellow line for Easton Park, and the red line is 78744. Since we are located in Southeast Austin, I felt it natural for us to include that area so we can see the specifics of where Austin is going along, where Southeast Austin is at, and where Easton Park is relative to both of those areas, right? So as you see, we're still in a downtrend for Easton Park. So next month when we do our live stream, it'll be interesting to see where we're at with us. I'll keep tying this back in so you guys can kind of visually see. If you're visual like me, you will visually see what has happened, where the height of the market was at last year. It was interesting because Easton Park's going to be a bit separate because as you know, we are heavily in the new construction. But if you see the height of the market for Austin and 78744 was around April, May timeframe, and then just kind of started sloping downward from there. So we're still seeing a downward slope overall. Again, we're now into the beginning of the year, so we're hoping some improvements, but we don't know, right? We won't know until we plug in this data. But based on what Vickie had just mentioned, she does see our market getting more of a neutral, balanced market, things getting back to normal. She's seeing a lot more home buyer applications. And as I am as well in my personal business, I don't know about you guys, but I am seeing, for me, it was so weird. And this happened late October into November. And even now, I've had all of a sudden buyers out of nowhere that I haven't spoken to in a while. They're like, hey, I'm ready to get back into
it now. Yeah.
I would love to purchase a home this year. I'm like, great. I mean, how are you? No, talk to you in a hot minute, but yeah. So I'm personally seeing that. And again, I don't speak for all agents, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. It's basically across the board. Everybody experiencing this.
And we usually see like a pickup in the spring, right?
Right.
But I think on top of that, there's been a little bit more, it seems like a little bit more peace of mind amongst the consumers that is kind of guiding a little bit of this like increase in interest again. A lot of them were already wanting to buy and they were just waiting to not feel scared that there was going to be this like bubble burst. And now, like you're showing, I mean, this is for 1 year, right? So it's like, yes, there's a downward trend for 1 year. You look at the 3 or the 5 year, we're still doing really, really good as a community, right? So I feel like a lot of people were almost hoping that it would keep going down. And I don't know if we will or if we won't, but at the end of the day, regardless, we'll keep bringing the stats, right?
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Gabby, for you, this is going to be your forte here, talking about the construction and roads and traffic, Coyotes.
Yes. So this is what to expect. This is what to expect because we've got construction coming in a big way to this William Cannon Drive corridor. They're going to be revamping everything. They're going to be adding roads, traffic signals, drainage. They're going to be putting new asphalt on some of that, which thank goodness, because we all know it's a little bumpy over there. They're going to be adding pedestrian roads. Here, let me pull up my little, there we go, my list. Okay, so additional travel lanes going to expand from 2 lanes to a 4-lane divided roadway. They're going to put new signalized intersections at Running Water Drive and James Ranch Road. That's the one that's right before McKinney Falls. And right now, a lot of people, if you've ever tried to turn, whether it's right or left, you'll notice it's really tough to get out of there. Mm-hmm. So that is going to be improving once we get those signals over there. They're also going to upgrade the traffic signal at McKinney Falls Parkway and William Cannon. So that is the one that is right at our corner.
Yeah, we desperately need that. So many accidents happen there, and then some people just going down the wrong way sometimes. So
yes, so we definitely need it. We're also going to have a new pedestrian hybrid beacon at Springfield Drive, which is going to, again, make things just a little bit simpler. Shared use paths on both sides of the roads for people walking and biking. That's going to be another thing that's going to help as far as safety and being able to get around without a car.
Right.
New bus stops in coordination with Cap Metro. That is super exciting, y'all. And I know we're running a little long on our live stream, so I might save that one for the next time. But what I will do is we'll make sure to post the visual of how they're planning to have all of the Cap Metro stations, just so that, you know, everybody in the neighborhood can know it's going to be up, because they're going to have us connected to Mueller. Like, imagine how cool it would be to be able to go to Mueller and not drive your car there. Little things like that, right? So that's going to be going on. They're doing some driveway reconstructions, intermittent raised medians, and a new bridge is going to be going on over Marble Creek, which is good, healthy. Pavement overlay, like I said, so that it's nice and smooth. Landscaping and streetscape improvements, as they call it. In other words, aesthetics. And drainage improvements. That's going to be a big thing. They're also going to be replacing and upgrading a lot of the pipes. So that's a little bit overdue. I mean, not severely overdue, but it is a good time considering how many people are moving into this area for them to really get those upgraded and ready for more of an influx in population, because we're seeing it come up, right? You know, whether it's really close to this Easton Park community where we're seeing the little spots pop up, or Velocity that they're still working on. There's a lot of stuff coming to this area, and they know they're going to need this additional bandwidth. And then they are also going to put a noise wall near the Vista Point neighborhood, which is a nice little thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're going to be making improvements to the existing water quality pond that I'm sure a lot of us have driven by, and it doesn't look particularly good or bad. It's just there. They're going to make improvements to it so that they can ensure that it's used as well as it possibly can be, and you know, the neighborhoods around it are protected, and all sorts of fun things. And so these are going to be going on. All of this stuff is going to be done in phases between spring of 2023 and with a 2026 completion date. So obviously that could get a little bit wiggly, but they'll be doing it in phases. So hopefully it's not going to be all at once, just this exhausting, everywhere is under construction. I don't foresee that being the case based on what they've described, but we'll have little bits here and there that are going to be under construction, and we'll make sure to keep everybody posted on what to expect at what times. And then for those of y'all that are curious about where is this money coming from, because I know as a taxpayer in this area, I want to know what's happening. The good news is that they've actually budgeted this in a few different ways. It's funded primarily by the 2016 mobility bond. So they've already gotten the funds for it. And they've got some additional funding from the 2018 and the 2020 mobility bonds. And then a Cap Metro, I think it's a Campo. Essentially, it's a grant that they've got, and then a partnership with the Austin Water and Watershed Protection Department. So all of these guys are going to be working together. They've already got the funds for it. Everything is lined up, and it is definitely going to correlate with I would say, a quality of life improvement for everybody who takes this road. It's something that's it is overdue for a little bit of smoothing out and upgrading. So I'm hopeful that that's going to make this corridor. I mean, they're now calling it a corridor. Before it was like, oh yeah, you have the East Riverside corridor, and that started getting some attention as far as development. And now we're finally getting here to where it's becoming a real part of town, y'all. Like it's getting official. So it's really, really exciting. And I will make sure to keep everybody in the loop on any additions that they make or any tweaks to whether it's timeline or just things that y'all have to keep in mind. We'll make sure to keep everybody posted, but that's the big thing. And then we'll post the map for the Cap Metro lines that they're rolling out this year. We'll make sure to post that in our neighborhood group.
Awesome. Thank you, Gabby, for that. And I think we're going to wrap it up with a little snippet of Coyote information that you wanted to share. Go ahead, Gabby.
Yes. Okay. So I think that most of us, if you go outside at night, you will hear the coyotes, right? Like you hear them. And some of them even sound real cute. They're little baby coyotes. But I do want to remind people that those are wild animals. We are close to a nature preserve. It is a blessing and a curse, if you want to look at it that way, but it is a reality, and we have to be considerate of that whenever we're making our plans. So I know a lot of people who love their pets. They say, well, my cat really likes to go outside, and I feel awful not letting my cat go outside. And I've just seen one too many posts of people whose cats have gone missing, to where I wanted to put this out there as a reminder that even if you feel kind of like the mean pet parent, it's kind of like not letting your kid eat just candy for dinner, except it can save your cat's life. So expect the coyotes to be out and about and active at night. If your cat likes to go out and not come back for a couple days, you might want to rethink that. Maybe get a catio. Like start thinking of ways that you can meet that need and still be keeping them safe. But expect these coyotes to be around, because we're just sharing this space with them. And hopefully that saves somebody a little bit of heartache, but that was my intention with wanting to talk about the coyote.
I know. Well, thank you. I know we ran a bit longer than we typically do, but we had some technical difficulties and we got that sorted out with, and were able to provide all the valuable information that you guys hopefully will find for this community here. We talked about just a quick recap. Alan Kirkland, a tax accountant, he's our resident highlight that Adeseli is friends with, and she
and I'm a client of.
And then client of, exactly. So obviously a lot of our neighbors use him and utilize him for help in that sector. And he also lives here in Easton Park. So we're highlighting that. We do resident highlights. And if you guys would love to be highlighted here on our live stream, please reach out to us, either text message us, or call us, right? Our information is going to be in the YouTube description as well. And also our numbers are public everywhere, but if you need to get a hold of us, please do so. It'll be in the description in this video when I am done with this live stream. And also we had Vickie Lasher, again, is Adeseli's friend, and she also helped her in a very difficult transaction that she had to go through. She essentially saved her and was able to achieve her goal to be able to purchase here. So we have a lot of great stories that they shared. And yeah, in between we had technical difficulties, but you know what? It's a live stream. Stuff happens, and we were able to just resolve it. Gabby went ahead and shared some wonderful information about the traffic updates and Coyotes. And we also shared what we normally do every month, our market stats for Easton Park. I think it's so important for us to know what is happening in our neighborhood. Gabby is going to share the traffic updates via our Easton Park Facebook forum. And then Adeseli, if you don't mind sharing the resident highlight and Vickie's information in a separate post, and I'll go ahead and share the Easton Park market stats as well. That way you guys are well informed. And other than that, I think we're done. If anybody else has anything to say, I'm not sure, because last time I feel bad I cut Alan off.
You're good. I think he was ready. Don't feel too bad, Liza.
I went boop, but I think we're gonna wrap this up. So other than that, guys, you guys know how to get a hold of us. Don't be shy. And we will see you next month in February with other market stats and a title that will come up in the future. So other than that, bye guys.
Bye
everyone. Have a good week.